Hello, I'm Ato Brent Ishan. We started talking about home wisdom some time ago, and I'm back at it talking about it again. Like we mentioned at first, home wisdom is not acquired from school, it is acquired through observation, it is acquired from home, it's acquired also through teaching, but usually we are taught by our parents, our siblings, what we see them do, what they teach us to do. That is where we get a home wisdom. It means that when you go to school, there's a kind of wisdom you can acquire through books, through formal education, and some of the wisdom you are born with it, you learn it from home, and you learn from other people too. If you remember the example I gave in the previous video, which I did in Akan language, is that those times when either of your parents or any elderly person gives you a plate that has been used, maybe he or she ate and said, okay, Ato, please come and collect the plate. That is the statement made. But it implies that collect the plate, take it to the kitchen and go and wash it. Most of the time, application of home wisdom involves taking simple instructions, but the instructions are embedded because you've already been taught what to do when you are given this instruction. For example, your parents will get visitors and he will look at your face or the faces of all the kids that are playing around. Home wisdom must communicate with you that there is a visitor around, so you need to excuse the adults because they are going to discuss something that doesn't require that you should be around. We were taught that when anybody did something for you, you have to say thank you. That time, mobile phones had not come, and it was not every home that had a phone. But it was we were taught that the following day, you have to go to the person's house to go and thank him. In a situation where you have a telephone, you have to pick a phone and call the person and thank him, even a day after the person had done that thing for you, to show appreciation. Every community or every nation or every group of people have some form of culture, and that is the culture that was typically African culture. That was a culture typical of the Ghanaian and was common among Nigerians, Liberians, and a lot of people in West Africa. These days, what do we see? We can see that spirit of appreciation has gone low, such that somebody will do something for you. To pick a phone to call the person to say thank you sometimes become a problem. Ideally, if a father gives you money as a son or a daughter, there's nothing wrong that you can send a text message to thank him. But culture demands that you pick a phone for the father or the giver of that gift to hear your voice saying thank you. It is not enough to send a text message or WhatsApp to say thank you to a father, an uncle, or a relative who has done something for you. The power of your voice is needed in showing this kind of appreciation. So although text messages, emails, telegram, and all forms of communication are there, as Africans, we must know that we recognize the power of the voice. In some situations, you may call, you may not be able to get a person on the phone. You can send a message, oh, I called several times for this and that reason. And at a different opportune time, you can call. Even if the person hears your voice note, it is better than sending a simple text message that, thank you for the money you sent me. Sometimes the person will just say, thank you. And I think that one is not our culture. We know culture evolves and we know culture is dynamic. Things change. But you must remember that we have a culture. When an elderly person does something for you, you have to show appreciation the right way. There are so many things that we were taught that this latter generation only few people know. And I think as parents, we need to inculcate this in our children. The culture is that a child doesn't wake up after the parents have woken up. You have to wake up early enough. And once you are 10, 12 years and above, it was expected that at least before 6 o'clock, you wake up, you start doing the household chores. These days, what do you see? A child will be playing video game. A mother or a father will call him 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you call for the 4th time, and the child will have the audacity to tell you that you are distracting me. Hey, Africa is changing. To tell your mother and father you are distracting me, thank God that you were born in this millennium age. At least get up right away and go and listen to what your father or your mother want to tell you, or what that elderly person want to tell you. There's home wisdom that we need to learn as young people. There's home wisdom that we also need to inculcate in our children as adults. Home wisdom does not permit you to scold your parents in front of other people. People from different parts of the world may be doing it. But in Africa, if your parent does something for you and it is not right, and you want to talk back, make sure you get him or you get her privately and you talk about the issue. But you don't show it publicly or tell your father you are stupid, you are this, you are that, like the way some other people do. Yes, they may have their culture, and for them it's okay. For them. But remember, we are Africans. There are a lot of home wisdom. When you marry, you get married to a husband or a wife, but remember, you are married somehow to the whole family. By this, I'm not saying you go around sharing money to every member of the family. That's what I'm saying. But the kind of relationship that exists between you and your spouse, you have to ensure that you build very nice relationship with your spouse's family members. And that is something that home wisdom must tell you. Sometimes you may be in a public place, you want to do something, but the mere fact that your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, or an in-law is there, you have to check yourself. And this is what home wisdom teaches us. This is somebody may get drunk and misbehave in public, even in the presence of the mother-in-law. Sometimes you go to a wedding, you see people dancing. In Africa, there's some kind of dance that you can dance anywhere. And there's some kind of dance that you cannot dance in the presence of your in-laws. But these days, what do we see? We see so many interesting things. And that is where application of home wisdom comes in. No matter how much somebody bleaches himself, you cannot be like somebody else. So irrespective of how fluent you are in somebody's, language, you are an African. And you have to behave as such, irrespective of wherever you were born. We know that, yes, depending upon where you were born and where you live, you'll be influenced by their culture. But remember, home wisdom is something that you have to teach your children so that your children will be able to apply it in so many ways. If you are blessed to have somebody imbued with home wisdom as a wife or as a husband, you enjoy life. Because before you act, the person would have acted to save you in many situations. We'll come back to this topic of home wisdom. My name is Ato Brent Ishan. Please subscribe to Prime Testimony channel. Thank you.